So as I said in the last video, the plan had been for the whole family to come on this walk, but with Morag spraining her ankle, well, we had to have a new plan. And this is the bushwalk between O'Brien's Crossing and Blackwood. And for most of its distance, it follows one of the aqueducts that the gold miners installed back in the gold rush to bring water from way up the valley.
So Angus, did you reckon we were going up or down, going along this path? No, we're actually going up. So you know how I was saying that this path is going up? It's going up very, very slowly because water used to run down this path from further up the valley.
And this is the closest view. Hey, take a photo of that.
I will.
That is amazing.
I think spring is one of the best times for this area. In the winter it can be kind of wet and miserable. In the summer it's really hot, and the dry forest and the rough terrain means that it can be quite dangerous if there's ever a bushfire, because, well, the fire will be on top of you before you know. And in the autumn the risk of fire is still pretty full on. So spring's the best time to be here. And added bonus, the wildflowers can be absolutely spectacular.
Okay, this plant is not in flower, but this is a Leptospermum, and it's probably Leptospermum scaparium. Although there's another one which looks very much like it, so it's very hard to identify unless you've got them sort of next to each other. But it's a form of tea tree. Now, if it is Leptospermum scaparium, in New Zealand, it's called Manuka. One of the research projects I've been involved with is checking the Australian species out for their medicinal properties of their nectar, their honey. Unfortunately, it hasn't been something I've been able to devote a lot of time to, but it's really something I want to get back into. Okay, with all the flowers around, I've been looking for native bees and I haven't seen many. And I haven't really seen many insects at all. And now we've just found these sundews and there's almost no insects in them. So as much as the forest looks fabulous in bloom, where are all the insects? So this is one of the sluice runs where they've built the sides up with the stone walls.
Are you going to get across here?
So this is one of the things I was looking for to show the boys. It's an old miner's hut. Now over this they would have had a wooden frame of poles, bush poles, lashed together or twitched together, and on top of that would have been a tent. And so yeah, this would have housed at least a couple of guys, and that would have been their shelter as they were working this area of the gold field. It's very basic construction. It's really just field stone piled one on top of the other. Yeah. Now guys, this is a historic building. Climbing on it like you're doing, knocking rocks off, is a really bad idea, so off you get. Yeah? Lots of little creatures. So there's not much water here, is there? Not much flowing.
No.
Yeah. Now, in contrast to not seeing any insects on the flowers, this pool has got heaps of little mayfly and dragonfly nymphs. Those little black liney dot things, they're all little insect larvae.
Insect larvae?
Yeah, well, mayfly insects are a type of insects. There was water beetles we saw. Well, do you want me to show you where the water's gone?
Yeah.
Let's go find it. You being careful, Arlen? How you doing, Angus? Okay, can you get through there, Arlen? Yeah. So should I go that way? Yeah. Alright, I'm coming. So boys, we found the river again. Yeah. So what's going on? Yeah. Let's find out where all this water's coming from. So what we got here, boys?
Hey!
You gonna lead the way? Yeah, but why is all the water going through there? Well, You know how I was saying there's the loop, the river goes in big loops? Well, this tunnel is a shortcut for the river, where the gold miners cut the tunnel through the river to give the river a shortcut. Yeah, and that allowed them to get to the riverbed and more easily find the gold. So the third thing I wanted to find is somewhere here there's a more complete miner's cottage, but finding it from down here on the river is going to be nearly impossible. And the last time I found it, well, let's just say I was a lot younger. But I think the plan, if the boys are up for it, is we're going to climb up the ridge and look, and then maintain a course parallel with the river and see if I can find it. Because from memory it had a tin roof, so if we can get up the ridge and look down, we've probably got a better chance of seeing it. And the other thing is that walking along the river, well, it looks like there's a nice little clear path there, but river path is rough as rough. So we'll get up into the ridge, up into the dry forest, and it's a bit thinner, a bit easier walking. Well, that is hilarious. That is seriously funny. That's where I was just filming, saying what the plan was, to look for the hut, just down on the beach down there. It's about, I don't know, 5 meters down the hill, 30 meters away. Now I knew this hut was relatively close to the tunnel, and I was pretty sure it was on the south side of the river. But we've just gone up the hill and there it is there. Right, well the first thing I'll say is it's in nowhere near as good a condition as it was 20 years ago, which is a real shame. It's like when I was here last, you could actually, it was still usable, you could go inside it and shelter. If you look at this used to be a wall, and these wires, these are the wires that they were using to twitch the saplings to the posts. So I think this was actually, might have been a roof, not a wall. And some of the construction is really good quality, like this stonework. Like it's pretty rough, but it's well laid. From memory, this was the entrance, this was the door to get in, but it really has collapsed. Now I don't remember this from last time. Not that it's new, just I don't remember it. But that looks like a mine entrance. So they might have built this hut here over the entrance to the mine to guard it. Yeah, so that's definitely the chimney. Okay, when I was here last, these were 2 beds. Now this green stuff is new. Someone else has added that since, and you can see that other people have been here camping, left their rubbish, which isn't really cool. But this roof here was intact. So this room here was intact. So we had, from memory, there was 2 bunks there, and there was a little table over here, and then you had the fireplace there. Okay, so this was the construction, where you had a really post, like quite, relatively lightweight, especially because this is most likely messmate or peppermint. They haven't bothered to take the sapwood off, and this is the outside layer, which I was talking about in the other video, which is just non-structural. They've used a relatively light gauge wire to twitch the posts together. They've then, on this end, they've twitched poles to this upright, and then it's been filled in with mud. And so, like the work is very minimal. Like they've just basically done just enough to get shelter, because they wanted to spend the rest of their time looking for gold. Oh, this is such a shame. This really should have been preserved. So we're around the back now of the chimney, and it's, look, like I said, it must be reasonable quality because it's lasted this long. Look, this building's 150 years old plus, and to last without maintenance. But it's just fieldstone with clay, probably mixed with river sand, so the clay wouldn't crack. to hold the stones together. And here we can get a much better view of how the wall was constructed in this area. So again, you got this upright. You can see the wire twitching, holding the horizontals on. All these gaps were filled with mud, with daub, when I was here last. Like, you couldn't see through the wall like this. But like, seriously, it was like I was, I don't know, 15 or something. But this is a detail I hadn't noticed last time, and that's the log cabin-like construction. That's interesting. There's still bark on that. Looks like peppermint. Huh. Fascinating. You can see here that it's basically a log cabin. This bit of it, and they've got the clay chinking the logs, the gaps between the logs. Well, they've rounded the ends. With that curve, it probably could have been done with an axe, could have been done with an adze. Yep, there's an axe mark. Well, it's a bit of a shame. I was really hoping it was going to be in better condition, but I was half expecting this because it was pretty run down when I found this thing when I was 15 or so. But still good. Boys, did you enjoy that?
Yep.
Yep. Just as a bit of a bit more of the surrounds. This was a major area of mine working with the tunnel cut to divert the river. That loop of the river up that way was laid bare so they could get to the gold easily. And it also seems that they've been tunnelling. So that'll be a tunnel that I would assume goes a long way back, because they wouldn't have bothered building that sort of structure if there wasn't a reasonable amount of gold, and they wouldn't have dug a tunnel if there wasn't gold. But also you see how they've got this flat work area here. We're about, I think, 5 meters above the river, which is probably out of the worst floods. And they've got this flat area here where they could have lived and worked, even in really crappy weather. And maybe that was the strategy. When in the summer, maybe they worked the river, and in the winter, maybe they worked the mine. But there's enough area here to live, but also to work. So if that is the chimney over there, maybe this is some form of gold plant. Might have been a foundation for a stomper or something. I'm not sure if you can see it in the terrain, but that's another aqueduct. There's the shape here. I can see this. You can see this better from the beach back near the tunnel, and I should have taken a photo or film of it down and pointed it out. But now it's starting to make sense. So that's an aqueduct delivering water to this site here. So I reckon that stone base there, I reckon that was the base for a stomping mill. There would have been a water wheel here, and they would have been stomping and crushing the ore from the mine there. So geez, I wonder how big that tunnel is. Well, that's for another day.